I had a knock on the door. Guy says, yeah, here to fix the furnace. And he pushed past me. And he comes back up and he goes, yep, you're all fixed. And he walked out the door. There wasn't any discussion about what's happening. That really created the foundation of what we do when we come into a house.
All right, back with Jamie from Donaldson Home Services, and it's all in the name, home services. And I'm gonna talk in a moment about a recent experience that I had with you guys. And I'm gonna gush a little bit, so Jamie, you're probably gonna blush and be the same color as the shirt that you're wearing. But there's a reason that you guys are called Donaldson Home Services, and it's not just Donaldson HVAC. Home services is imperative to you, and it goes beyond just what you do. I want to talk about home ownership, whether it's your first home, whether it's your fifth home, and the fact that your passion goes beyond people just owning a furnace, owning an AC unit. How integral is the top to bottom comfort of somebody's home to you?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's the reason why we do what we do. If I may, I'm going to step back real briefly, and I want to talk about the service aspect of the business. We sell a product. We sell, whether it's a repair, whether it's an install, at the end of the day, we are a product-based organization. But to me, it's not about the product, it's about the experience that you have as a homeowner. It's about recognizing that for us, we are a service-based business, right? We're in the service industry. At the end of the day, it's about how we treat you, how we treat your home, the experience that you have when we come in.
And it's funny, the way that you're billing that, people are like, well, yeah, Jamie, but I just need you to come over and take a look at my furnace. I just need you to come over and take a look at my gas fireplace, which is why I opened with that question. Recently, I had the Donaldson team come over to my place, and honestly, I'll tell you right now, it was an incredible experience. The service tech that showed up walked me through what the problem was with the fireplace, why we're going to have to do X, Y, and Z afterwards, and left me with a peace of mind that I've never had from anybody that's ever come into my home. And left me with a really great comfort in knowing that I asked the right people to come into my home. Because these are complete strangers that show up to your door. They can walk in, they can walk out in 10 minutes, say, yep, fixed it. But I have no idea what's actually transpired.
So I've actually had that experience. When I first came to town, I rented a property or a townhome in town. Fairly widely known organization, great organization, absolutely nothing wrong with them. But I woke up one morning and it was cold in my house. Obviously, being a gas technician, knowing what I'm doing, I'm gonna go down and take a look at the furnace. I found out, yeah, it needed a repair. Not my home, didn't have the parts on it. So I called the landlord and said, hey, got a furnace that's broken down. This is the part that needs to be replaced. They called the company that they normally have come out and do that work for us. I had a knock on the door and I walk over and I open up the door. The guy says, yeah, here to fix the furnace. And he pushed past me. Didn't remove his boots or shoes. This was in the middle of winter, covered in snow. And he walks across the living room down the stairs, and he's down there maybe 8-10 minutes. And he comes back up and he goes, yep, you're all fixed. And he walked out the door. And that was the extent of my experience with that organization. He didn't know that I was a technician. He didn't know that I knew what was going on. That was never navigated. There wasn't any discussion about what's happening. And I can also tell you that, yes, I can repair that part in 8 minutes, but I can't check the safety, the security, the condition of the furnace in general beyond that. So it's a quick repair to get it up and running and walk out the door. And I've kept that experience with me. I was working for another company at the time, and when I started my own, that really created the foundation of what we do when we come into a house. Generally speaking, people care deeply about their home. And when somebody comes in without respecting that space, without giving you the time and the care and the explanation of what's going on, you lose a little respect for that engagement, that interaction to begin with. And it becomes harder for you to decide what it is that you want to do. That's why we built our whole experience, the experience that you had around that connection. And when we're dealing with homeowners, they have no idea the knowledge that we have, right? I've been doing this for 24 years. There's still stuff I don't know, but there's not much on a residential system that I don't understand or know or get where X, Y, and Z is happening because A, B, and C happened over here. And really what we need to fix is A, B, C, not X, Y, Z, right? And as technicians, we forget that the homeowner has no idea. So the onus is on us as part of the explanation or part of the experience to slow it down, to explain, this is what I'm going to do in the home today. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Here's what I've found. This is what causes this. This is why this is important. Does this have to be fixed right away? Yes, no. Is this something that can wait? We're going to walk you through and explain it to you, and then give you the options. So at the end of the day, it's your choice what you want to do in your home. And that's all part of the experience that we create, right? It's about walking away. And when we leave, I want you to feel exactly what you felt: respected, cared for, and that the work was done well and accurately.
And I was smarter when you left than when you showed up, which is also not saying a whole awful lot. Over the last few times that we've had a chance to sit down, Jamie, you've dropped the nugget: long-term thinking, long-term planning, long-term. I want to talk a little bit about, as a homeowner, some things that should be crossing people's minds at least once, twice, maybe 3 times a year, and how Donaldson Home Services plays into that.
Generally speaking, as a homeowner, you care very deeply about your house, but we don't pay a lot of attention to it. And that's human nature. It happens in relationships. We care very deeply at the start. As it becomes more comfortable, we tend to pay a little less attention than maybe we should. And it's the same thing with the house. We get in, it's there, it's available to us, and we stop really paying attention to what it's saying to us. Problems never suddenly appear, right? They always come over time. And it's not just heating and air conditioning, but the house as a whole. It's recognizing that we need to be doing little things all the time to care for the home that cares for us. Leaks from a roof, there's always early indicators that something's going on before it becomes a major issue. Furnace failures, there's always something that's acting up or something that's happening before it becomes a massive failure. And by caring for it and paying attention, we can start responding to and being cheaper in the repair, right? So the question then comes back to is who's responsible for that? We're all busy. We've switched from a single income households to dual income households, and people just don't have time to care for their homes or to pay attention to what's happening. So you want to start partnering with people. And that's what I've built my business on. That's why we created our 15-year True Care. It's not about today. Yes, you're in an urgent situation today, or you may be in an urgent situation today, but then how can we help you think long-term on what this process is going to be, and how are we going to make sure that it's taken care of and that issues are going to get caught ahead of time? We do that with our True Care programs. It's that we take the onus on us, and you as a homeowner, you want to be able to partner with organizations that are going to help and support you in that.
It's more than just a call that you provide. There's the follow-up. After you guys came through, there was a follow-up to say, did the technician make everything abundantly clear? Are you familiar with what happened? Are you confident moving forward with the decision that was made? And honestly, I feel as though the weeks that followed, I probably had more interaction with the Donaldson team than I have with my wife in the better part of 3 or 4 years. Maybe why we're still married, but it was incredible. And again, anybody can sell a product, anybody can service a product, but to be able to put a product in somebody's home and not just have them comfortable and confident in the product that is there, but if in fact, or in case something happens, they are so confident with the person that's gonna come and look after it. You hit the nail on the head. Right? We buy a home, we get comfortable in the home. Like a relationship, you allow some things to kind of fall by the wayside. Well, you guys are kind of like relationship counselors, but for the 4 walls and the roof.
We become the trusted advisor for the house, right? We know what you may not know. There's a lot of options out there. Product is a great example. We sell different brands of furnaces. We know what out there works and what doesn't. There's a reason I can stand behind something for 15 years. The average life is 15 years. So the ability to sit there and say, this product line will last you that and more, comes from years of experience working with that product line and knowing what does work and what doesn't work. I have to build a connection with you through your experiences with us so that when I come to you and say, hey, this is what I recommend, or here's 3 options that I think are good, you can trust that what I'm putting forward is a decent product, and what you buy matters. And the amount of people that have regret 2 years, 3 years, 4 years on, that's what drives me, is if I can protect it. I've always had a protective kind of component to me, and I want to protect people and allow them to protect their homes. It's just how we interact.
Buy something once, as opposed to having to buy it 3 times over.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they're called the trades that you can trust. Make sure to check them out now. Donaldson Home Services.